How did you go about writing this book? I mean, what was the process that you used?
It's officially called the random writing process by Bill Holland. It's you'll go to, I mean, they'll take you to school for writer school, and they'll talk about doing brainstorming and outlining and writing and rewriting and doing a rough draft. And it's like, I'm 62, I don't have time. I might be dead in the middle of that process. So, I sat down, I mentioned in the earlier video, I sat down and wrote the introduction, or the first chapter, just as a lark, and then the story came to me, and I literally wrote the rough draft of the book I wrote in like 4 months. And then I spent 2.5 years filling in character descriptions and just adding to the plot. But the outline, the written, not outline, the written rough draft was written in 4 months, 5 months, something like that. So what process? Whatever worked for me.
Do you consider yourself a disciplined writer? How often do you write each day?
Well, one of my jobs is to write. So I write articles for companies, and I do that 4 hours a day. So I'm disciplined as far as writing, and that's practice as far as the craft of writing. But I'm not a disciplined writer when it comes to writing novels or writing short stories. I write I write when there's inspiration. That's this book, the 1259 Shuttle, sat for like 4 months because I literally couldn't think of anything to add to it. And then something came to me, and then 50 pages showed up. So there's no discipline as far as my writing for novels and short stories, but I'm disciplined as far as work ethic. I'm just not disciplined when it comes to writing a story. It has to be there. But I've heard musicians say too, they'll have dry spells where they can't write a song. Nothing will come to them for months, and then all of a sudden they'll write a whole album worth. So I don't think that's unusual.
Why are you self-publishing? Isn't it quite a risk doing it by yourself?
Well, if you worked for Random House, I'd say I'm self-publishing because I'm an idiot. The nature of the book business today is that agents and publishers aren't taking new books. They can't afford to. It's too much of a risk. And, they have to go with established authors. So, and I understand that. So if I want my book published, then I have to do it myself. Is it a risk? No. To me, it's a risk not doing it. Because then I'm giving into fear of failure or whatever. What other fear I can manufacture. There's no. I don't think there's a risk. What would be the risk? That 10 million people aren't going to buy it? Well, I already know that. That nobody in North Dakota is going to buy it? I know that too. So there's no... Texas? We'll rule Texas out while we're at it. But, I got another shot at the 48 states other than those two, so not bad.
What themes did you intend to highlight with this book?
Love alters reality. And that was one of the key lines in the book, and it came to me very early on when I was writing the rough draft of the book. Love alters reality. Environment was key. The earth is out of control, and what we're doing to it is out of control. So I wanted to make sure I had environment in there. Intolerance, I hate intolerance. I don't care if you're gay, I don't care if you're purple, I don't care if you're a woman, I don't care if you're an Indian. And it just blows me away. I don't care if you're an atheist. It blows me away that people care about that. I still do not understand why people care what I believe in, or what you believe in, or what anybody believes in. It's like, who gives a shit? Just live your life and shut up. And that shows up real quick in the book. That tone of dislike for intolerance shows up very quickly. Rednecks beware. Maybe I'm intolerant towards rednecks, though. Who cares?
Are there more books with these characters to come? Can you see yourself writing a trilogy or more?
Yeah, easily. Yeah. The trilogy would have to be in the span of 10 or 15 years between, as far as the time span of the book. With the characters, there'd have to be 15 years between. But God, if somebody'd pay me, I could write a book a year. We just follow these people until the whole family dies 50 years from now, or until I die in 2 years, whichever came first.
What other writings are you working on? Are there other books being worked on?
Yeah. There's. I've already done the rough outline of a children's book, which is, if you read the 1259 Shuttle and you see the language that's in there, you're going to say, how in the world could he write a children's book that wouldn't be laughed out of every library in America? But it's based on one of the characters, the whistling ladybug, Delilah. And I can see doing a children's book, and I've already done the outline of that children's book, Delilah following people around the farm and kind of basically meeting all the characters in the 1259 Shuttle and trying to get some key points across to little kids while we're at it. I've got a couple other books working. I've started a couple others. One's based on reflections I've done off of Facebook. It's one of those self-help, feel-good, la-la-la, harp music in the background crap that housewives in Des Moines, Iowa would buy in a heartbeat, because it'll help them with their lives, because God knows they can't live without my help. What's the other one? The short story that's my favorite is Sam's Legacy, and if anybody's been my student in the last 5 years, they've heard me read it. And I love the story, and it's about a real neighbor, and someday I'm going to write it into a book. I don't care if anybody buys it. I love the story. I can tell it to you now, but this is a YouTube video. So.
What would you tell other writers out there who are considering self-publishing or just considering being a writer?
The odds of getting published by a major book publisher are, about the equal to being a major league football player or, professional football player. So good luck. If you want to be published and you want to sell to family and friends, and maybe you'll get independent bookstores to buy it, then you have to publish it yourself. You don't have any choice. I took 30 rejection slips and decided that I was too old to go for another 30. What was the point when I could spend $500 and publish it myself and feel good about it? So if your goal is to publish it, then do it yourself. Why not? Anybody can come up with $500. If your goal is to get published by a major company, good luck. I hope you're ready for failure, because one of my favorite lines is one of the rejection slips I got was they told me that my book wasn't realistic enough. It's a fantasy. Hello? I don't know how I could have made it more realistic. So you get about 30 of those and you say to yourself, why am I bothering? Let's just publish it myself. We'll see what happens. People give up on dreams because, I don't know, because they're afraid nobody's gonna recognize them as great. Nobody's gonna accept them. It's like musicians. We talked about this before. How many bands are out in America trying to make it big, or just playing because they want to play? It's hundreds of thousands, has to be, across the country. If they gave up their music because they weren't being recognized, they'd never play music. If the people that enjoy writing gave up because 10,000 people in their hometown didn't want to buy the book, well then you might as well not be writing. That's not the point of writing. You write because it's an expression of how you feel. It's an expression of who you are. And if you're just doing that for acceptance, then good luck. You're not going to get it. Your mom and dad might pat you on the head and say good job, but that's about the only guarantee. No matter what, whether it's writing or painting or music or being a plumber or whatever, find something you love to do and then do it.